Feud.
I was watching Family Feud the other day, and I thought about how often people give bullshit answers, and their family is still like, good answer. It's like, no, that was a fucking stupid answer.
Yeah.
You just cost us the feud.
Yeah.
I don't get the part though at the end where they rattle off like, you know, the thing where like the host will like read a list of things,
Yeah.
and they're like, first word that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And then they have someone from the same family go up and do the same thing. Like, what are they doing?
I don't know. It's been too long.
It's they're trying to reach a certain number if what the number is. But yeah, like so they ask those questions to 100 people and they try to get like the most amount of like the most often given answers in each one. And if they do that, then they win the whole prize.
Well, that's how the whole game works.
Yeah, it's the whole game.
That's why its survey says.
Yeah, we surveyed 100 people and this is what they said.
Yeah, but it's just a quick fire round of that, whether you're gonna get the grand prize or not. Because you have to get to do the second level, you see, and it's different than the first level.
You see.
The only game show that separated into levels that I know of is Nick Arcade. So.
Show sucked.
Yeah, that show did suck.
What about that, what was that one where they, like, had the, like, it was a Nick show, and they had, like, the train that came out, and, like, they would have, like, the blindfold them, and, like...
Wienerville.
What?
Wienerville.
No, I don't
Mark
think...
Wiener.
I don't think that's the name of it.
Or What Would You Do? It's one of those two.
What Would You Do didn't have a train. It had that roller coaster.
Well, like, yeah, they would get slimed and stuff, and they would... But I don't think it was, like, the
You
name.
can't do that on television. What's up, guys? Welcome once again to the Save Continued podcast. My name is Ryan Robinson. This here is Tom Shelby.
Hello.
That's Shanae Howard.
Hi, guys.
Every week we get together and talk about video games and Family Feud. Tom, what have you been up to this week?
So, I purchased and played through a game called Shikondo Soul Eater.
Okay.
And it's a Korean bullet hell.
Okay.
It's very fun. A little short.
Okay.
And it feels like the production values are not great.
How's that?
It's just like, it's very limited, you know? Like, there's not a lot of modes. The game's only 4 levels. It's just kind of...
You have more than one character?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is super fun, and I think it's really good for people wanting to learn how to play bullet hell shooters.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And then, like, I've been kind of trying to decide what is the next game I really want to sink some time into.
Mm-hmm.
So, I bought Hitman, 2016's Hitman, which I already had the first episode on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I bought the whole thing.
Did you play through that first episode?
Yeah, I played through Paris. And then I played through Paris again. So, I'm trying to decide between that. I started like the first hour or so of The Phantom Pain. And the first hour or so of Bloodborne. So I'm trying to like pick between the three.
Yeah.
What am I gonna like go with for now? But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, with Phantom Pain, I would, or any open world game, I always try to avoid playing 2 open world games parallel to one another.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Bloodborne is not an open world game, but there is enough to it that it is that I consider it to be that intensive.
Sure.
But I am glad that you're giving that game a chance finally.
I have a lot of questions about it.
Okay, I'll answer them as best I can. Shanae.
Yes.
What have you been doing?
Well, Tom put his account on my Switch, so I've been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Okay.
Say it again.
Say it again.
I've been playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Have you been playing in funky mode? Is that what you've been doing?
Yes.
No, have you really?
Yeah, what am I supposed to?
It's just baby mode is all.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize
Yeah.
there was a difference.
Like, he can't die from spikes. He has way more hearts, like...
I just thought it was, like, different play styles. I didn't think it was, like, one was, like, harder than the other.
Oh, yeah, it's way harder.
But I also, at the same time, feel like Funky Kong caters more to your sensibilities, though.
Well,
yeah,
I think...
no. I'm really bad at platforming.
As an ape, I think he does.
I think, like, you can still have an appreciation for that game playing through as Funky Kong. Just in that, like, contextually everything is so... Like, it's pretty fascinating as far as 2D platformers go. How things work in that game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, after trying so hard to like be a completionist when it came to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And like being so intensive about it, and like looking up how like other people did stuff, and like different like combinations for different bosses, and like what they put, like how to kind of min-max some like different things in different games. It's really, I actually was gonna say I'm having a lot of fun playing Tropical Freeze because I don't feel like I necessarily have to be a completionist about it, but I'll keep replaying levels.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get something, but it doesn't like... I don't feel the pressure that I did with Kingdom Hearts. Maybe because I put that pressure on myself to make sure I finish it before Kingdom Hearts 3. But, yeah, no, it's just been really fun. And I haven't felt a lot of pressure with it, which has been really nice. To, like, be really good at it. Just, like... So, I'm pretty okay with playing baby mode.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
You know, not to go down a Hearts hole, but I saw that they have that Story So Far compilation.
Yeah, after I bought and put so much money into buying the 2 compilations separately.
It's a really good deal.
Yeah. It is a really good deal.
I think, and that makes me more, because I got to the point where I heard so much about Kingdom Hearts, I was like, there's so much there, I'm never going to play Kingdom Hearts 2. But with this, I feel like that is something that is now within grasp.
Well, all it is...
Well, it already was, but this is just more affordable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't like all that other stuff is all over the place, and I got it all in one nice, affordable little package.
It was in two different compilations in the same place, but whatever. Because it's
because we're all already on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, well, you ought to know you bought it.
Yeah, you 1.5 and 2.5, and then 2.8 file chapter log, and then just put them together. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. But luckily, I'm working on a video to explain the story so far.
Mm-hmm. Is it going to be called The Story So Far?
Now it might.
You should call it Previously on Kingdom Hearts, and then start with a voiceover that says Previously on Kingdom Hearts.
Maybe.
And then do like the panel cuts like 24 used to do.
Yeah, and like have a little countdown. No, it's like, it's really pronounced like, and then Jack Bauer comes up.
Yeah.
Alright, making it happen.
Yeah. You should put Jack Bauer in Kingdom Hearts.
He's probably already there.
I don't think so, but it'd be really cool.
But, yeah, so working the Kingdom Hearts stuff, writing that down, testing some things with, like, Birdo, like, how to word stuff, because he knows nothing about Kingdom Hearts.
Right.
So, besides what I tell him.
Sure. I don't know.
So, just
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I had downloaded some other games that were on your stuff. I tried the Toad's Treasure.
Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Say it again.
No. You're not my boss. No one's my boss right now.
Sure.
Yeah, so I tried playing that. I didn't really get into it super much. And then
Wow.
Well, I don't know. I was really sleepy when I tried to play it. I need to give it another shot.
I mean,
I'll sleepy.
It's definitely like a brainy game. You gotta like a lot of puzzles you gotta think through, you know.
Sleepy Shanae's not on that.
Yeah.
And then, just been doing that.
You didn't buy anything on the Switch, did you? Because Tom told you not to do that.
I bought everything.
Okay.
I just didn't play
No,
it.
you didn't. I would get an email notification. So.
I just imagine like Tom seeing the notification and immediately blowing up.
Shut up!
Like I imagine like a very much like a J. Jonah Jameson reaction, like with him slamming his fist onto his desk, asking for pictures of Spider-Man. I finished Mafia 3 the other night.
Oh, that's right.
That game is fucking fantastic.
You keep going back and forth.
What do you mean?
Because like a few episodes ago, you're talking about like you're loving the story, but the gameplay not so much. Then you said
no, I don't think I said. No, I like the gameplay a lot. No, that game does drag on though.
He said that some of the criticisms are true, but like he thought the positives.
But that game the story wraps up in a really fantastic way. Those last few encounters are really cool. They have some really awesome set pieces that they set up for the end of the game. One thing though is that so Nolan North plays a character in the game, and he is some kind of he's like this conservative talk radio host by the name of Remy Duval. And he like says very like vague things about white society juxtaposed against like the integration of black society in the late 60s South. But he says it in a way that like could very easily be spun, but like by the end of the game he's like spewing a lot of N-words. And it's really weird because his character is actually pretty much every actor's character in that game is modeled after their real world appearance. So it was weird seeing there's a scene at which like you make stuff go really bad for Remy Duvall because you like start fucking with all his shit, and then you also kind of unearth the fact that he's a member of the Klan. Well, they don't call it the Klan; they're called the Southern Union, but they wear white hoods and robes and stuff. Which is weird because they also directly say Ku Klux Klan in the game, so I don't know. But you find out that he's part of that, and he's got this whole thing where he's like storming around the room and he's saying like the N-word like every other sentence, and it was really weird seeing like Nolan North's face and seeing him like it was weird. But the game also gives you the choice between one or two endings. And I chose the one that I thought made the most sense, but I'm also really curious about the other one, so I might go back and YouTube that later. I ran into like a weird sound glitch near the end of the game, where like the sound like the guns firing wasn't making any sound, so it made like all the firefights kind of boring, and I rebooted the game and fixed it. But yeah, Mafia 3, I recommend it. One of my favorite open world games this generation. Not a fan of the collecting shit though. I gave up on that at some point. I also played Forza Horizon 4, and this is my first Forza game ever. I've never played any Forza game. I played a little bit of Forza Motorsport last gen, but I played it like in passing at a friend's house. I wanted to give Forza Horizon a shot because I knew that it was the more arcadey counterpart to the very much simulation based motorsport. It's not quite as arcadey as a game like Need for Speed. It kind of splits the difference between simulation and an arcade racer. But that being said, I do think it's a lot more accessible than a lot of simulation racers out there. But yeah, that game is really cool. It makes quite the introduction. It starts out with it
does the whole seasons thing, right?
Yeah. So what it does is you set up like after the game loads, then it gives you a brief introduction like welcome to Forza Horizon, blah blah blah. And they use that like
I hate that shit.
That racing game voiceover.
Onrush did the same thing.
Yeah, like but then like
welcome to Onrush. Like fuck you.
Yeah, so
I know
like,
what the game's called. I
so
bought it.
And so like they do this thing, and then they shows like a car driving, and then the camera sweeps around to the back of the car,
and then you're driving.
And then so like
Onrush did the same thing.
Yeah, and then
all these fucking racing games, man.
And then they have you drive, and you're like, oh shit, I'm in a race now.
Yeah.
So you're driving, and then like each one ends with a jump. So so it's like welcome to spring, blah 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 blah, and I'm racing,
jump, it changes.
and then I jump, and it's like oh shit, I'm in summer now, and then but each one highlights a different racing discipline, so that was neat. Like I started in this really this crazy exotic supercar, and then I jumped, and then I was in the Subaru rally car, then I jumped again. It was really neat though, and then it has you create your character, and then I don't know why, but it knew my name when I started the game, so that was weird. But it was like
it just calls everyone Ryan.
it's like welcome to the Horizon Festival, Ryan. I'm like, oh hey, what's up? But
yeah, I always hate that because that functionality in every game that has attempted it has always been very broken. Fallout 4 did the same thing, you know.
Yeah, and
it's sometimes it gets your name right.
We'll see.
It will never get my name
We'll see.
Right.
The thing about with Fallout though is I thought that it was going to be more than what it was. Right. I thought that there were going to be various characters in the game who would address me by name, but it's one robot.
No, I think it's more than just Codsworth. I'm pretty positive.
I've played a lot, and you could be right, but Codsworth is the only one I've ever heard call me Ryan. Not even my wife called me Ryan, and I married her.
Wow. Died.
But no, I think, Tom, as someone who likes more arcade racers, I do think that you will find quite a bit to like in Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot about it, and I've heard Ford is the whole outrun car is there, and Warthog is there. I'm like, that's cool, but
I did this. There are different aspects, like different kind of mechanics in the game that I don't quite understand why they exist. Like there's a whole like thing where like you can buy property for some reason. So I'm not really sure what that's about. But so far, like after every event that I do, someone calls me on what I'm assuming is my cell phone, and they say, "Hey Ryan, this thing's going on, so you should go over here and check it out." So I went to this one place that it was a movie set, and they were like, "Hey, I heard you can drive real well. Get in this like really expensive sports car and just drive in where we tell you." And so what it was they were shooting a scene where a secret agent like is escaping from a helicopter. So you have to go to like it's like a like Stuntman. You ever play that game?
Vin Diesel?
Uh,
No, that was Wheelman.
yeah, that was Wheelman.
I always get those mixed up. No, I did not.
I forgot about Lil Man.
Wait,
Yeah.
wasn't there a Jackie Chan Stuntman game?
No, Jackie Chan Stuntmaster.
Okay.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah,
like,
Tom.
yeah, and so they.
Sorry, I don't know terrible games.
And so like they set up a path for you to race along. And they were like, all right, so you need to jump through this windmill, and then land on the other side, and it was like a really neat like kind of little distraction. The game has this like rewind feature, so like anytime like you go through a turn like you're starting to botch it, then you can just like rewind.
Oh yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be a limit on how much you can do that.
No.
So, there's an incentive for like disabling that feature. There's incentives for like disabling like a lot of like the driving assist, like turn on manual transmission, like it bumps up your multiplier more, and turn off rewind, turn off assisted braking and stuff like that.
That's good.
So like
Rewind sounds like that takes the fun out of the game. If
Yeah.
you can't fuck up in a racing game, then what's the problem?
right,
You know, like, what's going on?
and like that's the thing, and like I would get it because like Grid did it. The way Grid does it is they give you a set number of rewinds that you can use.
Okay.
And so like, and I think like the number of rewinds that you have depends on like the difficulty level that you're set to.
Sure.
And so like once you run out, once you use all your rewinds, then that's it. Then you kind of have to just deal with whatever happens. And it has other like I think they're trying to like make it to like play the game however you want. And you know they do other things like as far as damage modeling, like do you want to make it like purely cosmetic, or do you actually want it to affect the performance of the car?
That's neat.
Do you want to have stuff like tire degradation, things like that, or you can just turn that off like altogether?
I know that they fixed a lot of the online problems that plagued the last few.
Yeah.
In that like players can no longer just like randomly drive into you, like
Yeah.
they'll just like go straight through you.
Yeah.
Like, that's really nice for a game where you're playing with a bunch of assholes, you know.
And so like I think like I'm playing through like what is effectively like an extended tutorial.
I see.
Because like
Because you haven't seen any of that yet.
well, so you go into the pause menu and like the online mode is restricted like from you, like it's like restricted until you do this thing.
Yeah.
But there are drivatars that they call them, which is basically like
No, I got it. I don't think you need to explain Drivatar.
for those of you who don't know what a drivatar is, it's an AI driven car that is based on the actual behavior of the person whose gamer tag is tied to. Here's the thing though. I know, like everybody that's on my Xbox friends list, I feel like I know them pretty well,
Yeah.
and I know which ones would play racing games and which ones wouldn't.
Yeah, you're not recognizing those Drivatars.
Who is that in that
Who
car?
is this, really?
No, but like I've got friends who like I know wouldn't play Forza Horizon, but like there's a drivatar with their name on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's another thing too. Like you can kind of you could adjust the intelligence of those drivatars too. So I mean that's cool, I guess. I don't like, and I was reading online about the game, and like one of the biggest things that people talk about with both Motorsport and Horizon is people just, I guess the big problem is like during races, like people just like run into each other all the time, and everybody hates that. but I feel like that's kind of just the nature of racing games.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm talking about. Apparently, like that is fixed. People
Yeah.
can no longer do that to you.
So hopefully, that's it's a really seamless experience online. I haven't actually played online, but as it is, I'm having a lot of fun with the game.
That's good.
I got it on. That's one of those. It's the second time so far that Game Pass has come in handy for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I would have checked it out otherwise.
Yeah. You wouldn't pay $60 for it.
I don't think so. That being said, it does seem to have...
Or 100 if you wanted it a week early.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
That being said, though, the game does seem to have a lot to it. I am having a lot of fun with it. I haven't bought, I consider myself to be, a decent fan of motorsports, but I haven't bought a racing game in I don't know how long.
Onrush. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, that's true. But, I don't... And it's weird because, like, when I look back on it, Onrush is a fun game, but, like, it's also very much a game that I can also imagine myself waiting until a price drop happened.
Oh god, not me. I thought it was perfect. And they're still supporting it, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're like...
With all the stuff that happened.
Even though they shuttered that studio and all that, like,
Yeah.
they're still supporting Onrush.
Yeah, which is really great. I'd like to see, how I'm feeling about Horizon in a few weeks from now. And then, I started back up Assassin's Creed Origins, which that game is like, I forgot how cool that game is.
That's the Egypt one.
Yeah, that's the Egypt one. You guys hear about the that Google streaming thing, and they're testing it with Odyssey?
Yep.
My experience with streaming services, which is quite limited at this point, mind you. But my experience with streaming services has made me largely skeptical. But at the same time, I feel like that there's a lot of room for probably innovation, especially with the way that they're going with the advent of faster internet speeds and innovations being made there. But I don't know. I feel like lag is always going to be there, though.
Well, it's funny, right? Because, like, the Switch streaming stuff that's going on right now, I think in Japan or China.
Yeah, because RE7 is a streaming game.
RE7, there's a few.
Yeah.
Apparently it works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Now apparently works pretty well.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know that what those companies are doing or what Google is doing is meant for the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Just because it's available here
Yeah.
doesn't mean that's where it's getting the biggest push, and probably definitely not where it's performing the best.
Yeah.
Now Google has a good they've got a good stake in that fight, in that, as they continue to expand fiber, which we're seeing here in San Antonio right now, right? As they continue to expand that could be something that they could offer with that service.
Right.
But
there's I feel like, but again, like you were saying, I don't, I agree with you. I can't necessarily see that the U.S. would be the.
we don't know, right? Like,
but
we assume that if we see a commercial, it's meant for us here in this country.
Well, yeah, and I think that's more of like a societal conditioning thing, but we don't have the best internet in the world.
We do not.
And there are large chunks of this country where fiber internet just isn't available.
Sure.
At one point I did work for a telecom company, and I looked at where their fiber service was available, and it was a total of 20 cities in the United States.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
That was actually that wasn't that long ago.
It's been at least several years.
Well, no, not exactly, because I did actually just recently check their fiber offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, and when I went there, I expected okay, let me put in my zip code and see if it's available here, right? And it's to the point where they don't even have a place to put digital equipment. Like they just like right there you go onto the site and it says this is where we have it.
Is this on the same scale of something like Comcast or Google Fiber?
Like what do you mean?
Well, because they are like both of those are rapidly expanding their fiber optics in the U.S. Like very.
No, I won't pretend to say that. I won't pretend to know like where they're going to expand it or when they're going to like do their next push.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just saying is right now, and it's not like it was a small company either. So, but again, like I said, we don't have the best internet here.
Sure.
And I think that there are a lot of people who would kind of just not have access to the service. And I'm not saying that, they're obligated to always make it available to everybody.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, internet in general is not available, throughout the entirety of the U.S.
Yeah.
So there's portions of tech. There's places 20 miles from where we are right now that can't get internet.
Yeah.
So.
But that being said, I won't pretend that I'm not intrigued. I think when I hear about any like new tech thing, I'm definitely like want to check it out. But I know that they're doing like they have this Google's doing this thing where it's like we have limited spots. You can get in on the testing of it. I don't know how many spots they had. I didn't really look into it, but
well, I mean Southside has it already.
Yeah.
They've been laying cable all down Westover Hills for like months now.
No, I'm talking about for the streaming thing.
Oh, I see.
And I'd really like to hear like what people, I don't know if they have an NDA going on where people can't really talk about it, but I'm really curious to see like what kind of experience that they're having with it.
Oh, people will talk about it, NDA or not. If this isn't like a professional environment, if they're not picking journalist A, B, and C and having them sign an NDA,
sure,
then yeah, people are going to talk about it.
Yeah. But say this takes off.
They know that.
Say this takes off, right? And obviously, like with streaming service, like you're not using your power locally. You're using the power of some server farm somewhere else, right? And like especially with like there more than one person has said at some point, everything's going to be streaming. Mm-hmm. And I wondered like one of the biggest things that people talk about with the divide between console gaming and PC gaming is the power difference.
Right.
When you get to the point where you're using someone else's power, then what happens to that?
I mean, there will always be a power difference as far as things like display or sound or whatever, right? But when it comes to just like the hardware of what is running the game, I do think streaming is the way it's going, and I do think it will uniform things, at least to some extent.
Yeah.
You might have, like, Shanae might have a streaming device that streams at a better frame rate than mine does, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that there would be a price difference there. But you see companies like Sony paying a ridiculous amount of money for Gaikai.
Yeah.
You see Microsoft basically saying that the next Xbox will have a streaming-only version. You see Google now getting into this, like, this is where we're going.
Yeah. We also speculated like who would be the next person to get to enter the market to like be a competitor, and thought about like people that maybe either hadn't done it before or had done it before and failed and maybe want to make another try at it. I mean, it's too early to say, right? But like, I wouldn't be surprised if Google made a shot, went after it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this whole streaming thing is not necessarily like the games we're thinking of as video games. Like,
Sure.
okay, Assassin's Creed, that's a thing, right?
Right.
That's one project, right? Netflix is talking about, I forget if it's Minecraft or Stranger Things, but with one of them, it's going to be
Minecraft.
It's going to be in Netflix. You're
Yeah.
just going to control it with your fucking controller.
Yeah.
And that makes sense for just a choose your own adventure game,
Yeah.
There's no problem with that. There's no reason input lag would matter there.
Sure. Because it's not.
For all we know, Google is doing something more along those lines.
Right.
Like we make a lot of assumptions here. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, I like part for me anyway. Part of the fun is speculating and and imagining like what it could be. And I'll give you this: most of the time, I'm wrong. I'd say 80% of the time, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I strike gold though.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I was right about it.
And I'm not saying like Assassin's Creed is a good point. Like that's a good point to bring up. If that is a game that they're targeting with this, that's a real game, right?
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a while yet before we see stuff like fighters and shooters and things like that, like on one of these services, like performing well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Apparently they're already performing well elsewhere though, just not here. You know.
Yeah, but then because I've only ever used internet in a few places, like outside the U.S., right? And I will say, like both of those times, like my experience was far and away like better than anything that I've experienced here. But
have you used Google Fiber here locally?
I have not actually,
because it's pretty fucking choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Like you do not see like anything you're streaming, Netflix, YouTube, whatever. You do not see loading on that.
Just everything just pops up.
Yeah.
At least the few times I've experienced it at friends' houses, it's been just instant.
Yeah.
That's one of the things me and Bert are looking for right now when we're looking at places, because he doesn't really want, because he has like his like streaming stuff all set up. He just doesn't want to do it until we get Google Fiber.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, there's definitely there's definitely like a lot of incentive to wait on that.
Yeah, because he wants to start off with like a uniform.
Yeah.
Look. And I don't know. It's his whole thing. I'm fine with getting Google Fiber. I'm not mad about it.
You know, I'd like to. It sounds like it'd be really awesome to like be able to like download my games and shit on Google Fiber, and but then again, like there's like a lot of stuff with like as far as like PSN and everything, like where like regardless of like how fast your internet speed is, like that shit gets throttled through their infrastructure anyway.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know if my Tommy games already download pretty fast.
Yeah.
So I'm not really.
They're like
They would.
They're like 1 megabyte each. So.
But you know, like Red Dead's getting ready to come out, right?
Yeah.
That's over 100 gigs.
105 gigs. Yeah.
I mean.
And that's going to become the new norm. Like that will.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, because they've been getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like every year, these downloads get bigger. You
Nintendo's
know?
the only company that can manage to keep their games relatively small.
Which is like so.
Because they're so humble. They know that an average size game is just.
Like,
well, I mean, it's crazy that the file size of Breath of the Wild is smaller.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Was that like it's I've seen like I've watched. I wouldn't say many hours. So I don't want to spoil the game for myself, but like I've watched a decent amount of that game, and I get a good sense of the breadth of content in that game and like how much
and the breadth of the wild
You know,
yeah.
There's so much. There is so like I imagine like just the breadth would take up 10 gigs easy.
Sure.
But how big is that file?
I don't know, but it's small. It's like around 20 gigs.
Right, and
I feel like it's a good 24, 28.
Yeah, but like comparatively speaking, compare that to like GTA 5, in which this game is larger than that.
Yeah.
Compare that to Skyrim, in which this game is larger than that.
Yeah.
You know, yes, textures are not as detailed, so like that's where they're saving a lot of space.
But
like,
even still,
they are working some kind of fucking wizardry over there.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's but again, it's funny because.
Sorry, 13.4.
See, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because there is no AAA game on my PlayStation that small.
Right.
Without the DLC, 9.5.
Yeah.
But like you see people like is Red Dead's file size noteworthy? Sure, but at the same time, like
you're gonna do it.
Are you like that one? Yes. Two, like. Are you really surprised though?
No, I mean look at that game.
Yeah, like
look at a screenshot of that and a screenshot of Breath of the Wild. You can say that they are equally as beautiful, but one is far more detailed.
Right.
You know.
I remember, man, like when like the gigabytes went up like exponentially on the 360, and having to explain to like parents trying to buy like a new one and just buy like a 20 gig hard drive. I'm like, you're gonna get maybe one game. Like, and then like whenever people like, especially with Minecraft, took I think like all of that, and or like other games that they wanted to buy with it. I'm like, if you buy this game, you have to buy a bigger hard drive because you're not gonna be able to, like, the kid's not gonna be able to do anything with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been happening for a long time. I also don't understand why people are surprised by the large size. Like, I mean, I guess it is noteworthy.
That's funny.
I know.
Because it sounded like a penis thing.
Yeah. It did. I didn't mean to, but I enjoyed that I did that.
Sure.
But yeah, so like it's just, I mean, I guess it is like you said, like 100 gigs. It sounds like a lot, but it's like.
Well, it is a lot.
Yeah.
You know. I went out day one that I got my PlayStation 4 and put a terabyte hard drive in it. This is before they offered PS4s with terabyte hard drives. You know? Like that's over a tenth of what the space I got on there.
Yeah.
One game. I've got 100 games. I've got like 117 games on my hard drive for PlayStation right now. Yeah. And that game would take up a tenth of that space. You know, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. But like, I mean, it's always funny to me for people to be surprised at, like, because I feel like every year, like, people comment like, man, these file sizes are bigger. Well, like, yeah, but you've also been demanding that the games be bigger and that the games be better and the games be better looking.
I mean, I guess,
so you have to imagine that, like, with that expectation, the file size would get bigger too.
But it's also something it's also like a AAA game that's like going to sell, and
sure,
and they have,
and storage is only getting cheaper.
Yeah.
But,
and it's just like it's a widely known title that they obviously want to be good and have all this fancy new stuff in there. And
well, it's also late in the gen. We typically see these more graphically intensive games later in a generation.
Yeah, because people know how to like take the the hardware there or like software there and really use them. As it gets later, like the more it's out, the more developers can like push boundaries.
You know, it's funny because I think about, like, I look at games like Red Dead, and then I immediately always think back to like the mid-90s when there were FMV games like everywhere, and I was like, you know, there's nothing, like, it never occurred to me that it was just like a pre-recorded video.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way that these games will be any more realistic looking than this, because these are real people.
I said that about Donkey Kong Country.
Sure.
You know, like, yeah.
I said that about Kingdom Hearts, and I'm still right. So.
You know.
The game kind of looks like butt. The new one does not.
It's I actually you went out and day one got that terabyte hard drive for your PS4, right?
Yeah.
I've been shuffling shit around on my 500 gigabyte hard drive for the past 5 years.
Well, I still shuffle shit around on there.
Yeah.
But like even the Switch, I only recently got a memory card for my Switch.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, oh, I could just delete this and then put this on. When I want to play whatever else, I'll do that. But
yeah, I
finally got annoying, and there are enough games out now that will not fit on the internal memory.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I thought, like, after I finished Mafia 3, I thought about, like, should I just go ahead and delete this? Because I don't think I'm going to go back to it anytime soon. But then I was like, maybe I do. I don't know, because I'm having that same feeling that we had right after finishing Bates Motel. Where it's like, I miss these characters. I miss this. And, like, that's what I'm glad that I made it through the game, but at the same time, like, I'm sad that it's over. Because, like, it was, like, I don't know. And so, like, I'm just like, I'm not ready to delete it yet. Maybe I'll go back in and...
You just gotta fall in love with shorter games.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
I've played Shadow of the Colossus probably 30 times this year. You know?
Yeah.
Or just make a really intensive video about it. Talk about all your feelings. You know, get some closure on that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, the excitement of Castlevania coming back, even though it's just, you know, old games.
Sure.
And you talking about your Kingdom Hearts timeline got me thinking about a Castlevania timeline. That would be neat.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because the games are spread across so many different platforms, and I would want footage from each one of them, you know? It's difficult.
Who's your favorite Belmont?
Belmont.
Probably Richter.
Yeah.
Everybody says Richter, but probably Richter.
How come?
Because he's cool, man.
I don't know enough about any of the Belmonts to.
I don't either.
I know I know that they're all that Belmonts and Whips are fond of one another.
Sure.
And that's all I know.
Well.
Then they all hate Draculas.
The interesting thing about the Kingdom Hearts, the interesting thing about the Castlevania timeline is that, like, Konami went through, and there are dates on all of these, like hard dates. You know when these happened, you know. And most series like this, Kingdom Hearts, Zelda, whatever, Metal Gear, it's kind of all confusing, you know.
Well,
there's some dates, not many though.
Well, the thing about Kingdom Hearts is, like, all those Disney worlds are, like, they take place in different time periods too.
Sure.
Time travel explains a lot of that.
Okay.
which is a statement very rarely said.
Okay.
Also being alternate universes, and some of them are just in books, and some of them are digitally created. So all of that is kind of explained.
Okay. I wonder if Walt Disney exists in any of those universes, though.
He must.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one of the reasons I think that it's cool that Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood are coming out is, I think that even people who aren't people like me, right, who have played Castlevania, but not to the point of being a Castlevania fan, know the kind of the kind of reverence that comes with Symphony of the Night. I don't know anything about Rondo of Blood. I don't really hear people talk about that one as much.
Well, Symphony of the Night is a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting in that I think it's a neat collection to come out because, like, you've got one of each style of Castlevania, and they are directly connected to each other.
It's just Symphony of the Night came out when we were preteens, and it's cool that later generations can still experience that game.
Right.
And the cool thing about those 2D Castlevanias is that they're kind of ageless, and they're, I think that, Symphony of the Night is awesome regardless of when you play it, and that's the one game that's the Castlevania that I played more of than any other one. I never finished it because I'm bad at Castlevania. I get turned around every time.
Oh, you can't fall down pits in that one, so that's nice.
Yeah. But I think one of the things I liked about it, because I remember when I wish I could remember the magazine that I saw it in. I think it was either Tips and Tricks or Game Fan that I first saw Symphony of the Night in.
What a terrible name for a magazine.
Game Fan?
Game Fan.
Well, also, their mascot was lame, too, because it was just like, okay, picture...
Was it a box fan?
Well, okay,
I don't like that.
Okay, picture the cartoon character, the Tick. Okay? Right. Now switch out the Tick's head with a television. And you have the Game Fan mascot.
I like my idea better.
But I remember seeing, because I think the only Castlevania that I played before Symphony of the Night came out was the first Castlevania game. And I played that when I was like 5 years old. Which I can't imagine, like, beating that game at 5 years old. I'm sure there are 5-year-olds out there who did it.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of them. But I remember looking through the magazine and seeing, like, special moves and, like, things like that. And I was like, man, this
It was a very, also, like, that was a big gamble, them putting that game out when they did.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted 2D games then. Everything was 3D or nothing,
Yeah, well, I think also
It was more, like, there are other 2D games, obviously, of that time.
Do people like Castlevania 64?
No. Well, some people do.
Okay.
Castlevania 64 is not canon.
Well, I just think
Is it really not canon, or is it just that the fans decided?
No, it's really not canon.
Okay.
Like, both the PS2 games are canon.
Yeah.
Lament of Innocence is actually the first in the timeline.
Like the whole Castlevania timeline?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I have that game.
Yep.
I should go back and play it. That's something that, like, I've bought Symphony of the Night more than twice.
Yeah.
Finished it 0 times.
I think we all have.
I have not.
Have you ever played Symphony of the Night?
No.
It's really fun. It's just, I don't know. I'd like to revisit it now that I had that awakening moment behind, like, games of that kind, where, like, they're not as easy to get lost in as I thought they were. I overthought it.
Well, and everyone's having that this year, right? Like,
Yeah.
we are in the Metroidvania renaissance right now.
Yeah, you got that, and you got the Guacamelee, and you got the blah and the blah. I don't know. I don't know how many Metroidvania games come out. But then again,
a ridiculous amount recently.
I don't really pay. That's not a genre that I pay that much attention to.
But, like, SteamWorld Dig 2 and Hollow Knight and Dead Cells and Guacamelee and like, it's a bit much, but
Well, then I'm
not mad about it.
Well, I mean, because you didn't. I can't remember. You didn't play Dead Cells, right?
No desire.
Okay. It seems like all the Metroidvanias that you have played, you got a lot of enjoyment out of so far.
Sure, yeah.
Like you played like a lot of Hollow Knight.
I played a lot of Hollow Knight. Finished up the Mummy Demastered, you know, like, yeah, I'd say it's one of my favorite genres, but like, it's worse than when like first-person shooters were the big thing. We're just getting a fuck ton of them right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, luckily though.
And they're not all good.
I mean, luckily though, you at least have the knowledge to go through and be like, oh, this one's probably going to be garbage.
It just sucks though because like.
But one man's trash, right? Like people love Dead Cells.
Yeah.
You can't make that. I mean, for Dead Cells, yes, but you can't make that argument for every game.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe you can because like somebody out there likes it.
Nobody likes it.
Somebody out there likes it.
You know who likes it? Whoever made that game, their mom likes it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. So someone likes it.
Sure.
So like, I'm so proud of you. Like you said, you're gonna make your
Gordon.
I'm so proud of you, Gordon. You made this. You said you were gonna make a game. I left you alone. I didn't make you do chores for 3 weeks, and look what you did.
For 3 weeks. That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, like they keep coming out, right? Like every week, I'm seeing another one and another one and another one.
Yeah.
And like I'm cool with it because it is a genre that I very much love.
Yeah.
But like this game is a chance for people to go see where this genre really started. Yes, I know Metroid came first. I get it. But like this is where the name comes from.
I've also kind of had like a. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've never really felt truly sure that I was on board with the term Metroidvania.
I'm all about it.
It just always never. I don't know why. It just never sat right with me.
It's no different than roguelike, you know, like.
That one didn't really sit right with me either.
But most people don't realize that comes from a game.
Yeah.
You know.
And but at the same time, they're both something that I have to come to terms with. Because if I want to find games like that, that's the word I have to use. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm gonna. That's a genre that I'm gonna delve too much into. Like at the same time, I have had a lot of fun with the ones that I have played. Like I have had a lot of fun with Guacamelee.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about Guacamelee too.
And Symphony of the Night, like, how old is that game now?
It's about
20.
It's about 20 years old now.
That game is still deeper than most of the games in the genre are today.
Yeah.
You know.
Reverse Castle or Upside Down Castle?
Upside down.
Okay. Because remember, like...
It's not like a mirror, like it is upside down.
Upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the ceiling is the floor.
Okay, got it. I don't know how do they do that? Like,
But I mean,
like
and I don't even mean complexity in that or in the pixel art or whatever, but like, there are very few Metroidvanias that have like item sets and special moves like you were talking about and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, like it is much deeper.
Yeah.
In its RPG mechanics, you know.
And I don't know. I think that was I think that is a game that I will always admire and never finish.
You'll finish it. We'll finish it together.
Okay.
That'll be our project.
Okay.
Aww.
Oh, also, I need to make it through a Mega Man before the end of the year.
Alright.
Before the end of the year?
Yeah. I need to actually.
How much longer?
I need to actually accomplish that. Well, see, here's the thing: is you say that, but I feel like with Tom by my side, I can.
You can do it in a sitting.
I can do it in a sitting because I made it through. Like I've recounted this tale many times.
Yeah, you were like a third through.
If I didn't have Tom there coaching me, I wouldn't have. I don't feel like I would have made it through that level in the amount of time that I made it through that level.
Well, you beat more than one boss. You beat at least 2 or 3. So you were like a third of the way through that game.
Tom, if I buy you a whistle and like a sweatband, will you wear that while you coach Ryan in beating Mega Man?
No.
What if I also gave you a Red Bull to do it?
No.
2.
I just.
I'll wear the lipstick, alright?
Alright, good. Lipstick and the whistle.
That sounds like the name of a weird movie, but I don't know. I'm trying to.
We're gonna talk about Bloodborne a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that this will you can play Mega Man just fine.
As a Bloodborne veteran.
Yeah.
As a veteran of the Blood Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
So what questions do you have about that game?
Okay. give me some time to recall everything.
Okay. And again, remember, I'm 3 years removed from when I finished that game, so I might.
It's all stuff that I think you'll be okay with.
Okay.
When picking a class, people like, you remember when that whole thing came out a couple years ago? Is like, should Dark Souls have easy mode?
Yeah.
You remember people talking about that? Like,
me,
the classes seem like difficulty level. There are some classes that statistically are obviously superior to other classes.
Okay.
So like, why was that such a discussion? Because there is much easier classes to play as.
Well, see, here, the thing about those games and classes, is that
the classes aren't balanced.
Well, here's the thing: the thing about those games and classes is that like they're not classes in the same way that a lot of other games mean classes. Right?
I just mean from the bare numbers, the stats.
Yeah, well, and then determine your starting stats, but then like at the same time, like you could like with enough grinding, then you can have another class mirror that same class.
No, I get that, but like, you're starting off with a much higher advantage picking some classes over others.
Right. And it's funny because that had never been my experience.
Yeah.
I like when I first like going back to Demon Souls, right? When I first played that game, like I felt like they mattered more in the way that I imagined them to than them determining just like what the beginning of the game is like for you.
Right. Like this class does this class does that.
But like then
the way we typically think of it.
Yeah, but then you get to the point where like every class can do everything.
Right.
So
and which was like I kind of gleaned that. I was kind of like, this doesn't really matter that much. Which is weird because I hear fans talking about, oh yeah, this is the class to go with.
Well, it's like, and I think that like with those Soulsborne games, like it's more about like builds over like a long period of time.
Sure.
And like, and even as someone who's played through all of those games, like a lot of the whole thing about like building a character, like a lot of that stuff I've always had like difficulty obfuscating because I was just like, well, I know that I want to do this right now. Like a lot of my thinking with those games was very much in the short term, where it would be like, well, I like this thing that I just picked up, and I want to maximize my effectiveness with this thing, so I'm going to.
So I'm not far enough to really.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing of any consequence, at least to my knowledge, the only thing of any consequence that I picked up is the first armor set.
Yeah.
Which is like, I've already asked you this question in that like. When you first go to, what is it, like the Hunter's Dream or something like that?
Yeah, the Hunter's Dream, yeah.
And you find the little fountain baby?
Yeah.
Like, that's the first merchant, right? Like, that, or at least it was, from what I've seen, that's the first merchant.
Yeah.
And one of the things he has to sell you is that armor set.
Yeah.
But, like, if you just wait a minute, you get another armor set that's better for free. So what's the point,
Well, then again, like, then you think about, like, how do you play those games, right? Because to some people, like, armor is meaningless. Because you have people who play those games, like, all the time with, like, no armor or whatever they just think looks coolest or whatever.
So, well, then there's still no reason to have it.
Right. And so, like, but at the same time, like, okay, so I think that, do I think that those games have, like, a really deep interconnecting lore? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think...
I like the way the story is being presented.
Yeah, but do I also think that there are things that people assign more meaning to than they should? Yes.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
So
contextually, that armor set being that merchant is important.
Yeah.
Or to some people important.
Right, but like from like a strictly objective mechanical standpoint, no.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, so you go to, like, that, I don't know if it's a sewer or whatever, but, like, there's rats, you kill the rats, and then you get the armor set.
Yeah.
Which is, like, already better than the one that you would have paid for otherwise. Yeah. This is kind of silly. There's something that I noticed. So, like, when you first start the game, you're in, like, I don't want to call it a hospital, but, like, kind of like a lab, clinic type thing.
Yeah.
And you come across that dog thing.
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah. So like, he's pretty easy to kill.
Yeah. What?
And I'm pretty sure you're intended to die there.
Yeah, so
because when the first time you go to the Hunter's Dream,
yeah,
the movie that plays, like the cutscene that plays,
mm-hmm.
shows you getting up off the ground.
Right.
And after that, it doesn't do it anymore. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, very strange.
Yeah. So and that the funny thing about that is that like that's not even the first time that they pull that gag on you.
What do you mean?
Well, in that game it is, but like as like, because I consider all of those games to be like a franchise.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
I think most people do.
But like that's not even like they do that more than once, right? Like in Demon Souls, like the first guy that you fight in Demon Souls, you're meant to die to him, and then like you wake up in what is the hub of that game.
Yeah.
They don't do that in Dark Souls though.
So that dog is the reason that I think you can pretty easily get into Mega Man. In that, what I did is like I go up to the dog and I'm like, I don't have anything. I don't have any, you know.
You beat him with your fists.
Yeah, and like there's a gurney. There's probably multiple gurneys, but there's one specific gurney in that room where like he's munching on somebody, right?
Yeah.
So like, I went on one side of the gurney, and then I whacked him from the back, and he turns around and he starts trying to get at me. So I'm just walking around this gurney over and over and over again, and he can't get you if you're doing that. He just can't.
Yeah.
That thing has 3 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
3 different attacks. I don't know if all the enemies in that game are like that, where they have like, I assume that is the case. They probably have a set number of attacks.
Right.
Probably 2 or 3.
Right.
And if you watch them, they have tells. You can tell when they're going to do what attack.
Right.
And you can tell which animations take longer to complete.
Right.
That's all Mega Man is, man. You know?
Yeah, and I've heard people draw parallels between the two actually,
Yeah.
specifically because of that sort of pattern recognition.
Like he does this claw thing that takes him the animation takes longer for him to recover from that than anything else.
Right.
And if you go behind him, you have that little special move where there's like a little shine.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just like no weapons at all. Just
and
kind of like an anime moment.
Yeah.
Almost, you know.
And you know, do I think that those games are challenging? Yeah, absolutely. But I also think that a lot of that can be mitigated by having the patience to pay attention to what your enemies are doing.
Yeah, for sure. The hardest part so far that I've done is like, and it's still very early. It's before the armor set thing. You're walking down that street when you first enter Yarnum, and there's the people at like some sort of bonfire thing.
Right.
And there's like 2 guys with guns and a bunch of dudes with like, you know, any random sorts of pitchforks and weapons and whatnot. And then there's a dog, like different from the other dogs.
Right.
A white dog.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't know what the fuck the pebbles were, but I found out there that you just use them to get like one person at a time.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight that. Like I've killed all of those things one at a time.
Yeah. And I think that like every Soulsborne game has had like kind of a variation on that.
Yeah.
And some.
So I like the pebbles. Pebbles are cool.
Yeah. Like.
It just sounds like funny. Like you're motivationally like killing people. Just
Sure.
kill them one at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like there's this big group, and it's pretty intimidating when you first see it. Because you're like, you know, because you know,
I can never kill this whole
by
group of
that
people.
point, you know what it takes to kill one weak enemy.
Yeah.
So when you see that many of them, it's the first time in the game where you see a group of that size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, we have those pebbles, you can just do them once, like one.
Well, see, and I feel like there's a weird kind of like, for lack of a better word, a weird kind of paradox with the game design in those games, is that I think that I think that the games are crafted really well, but I also think that they make a lot of assumptions of how you're going to play the game.
Well, I think like you said, they are crafted with a very classic mentality. I think if you grew up on NES games, that you probably don't look at Dark Souls as something that's that difficult.
Right.
But if you haven't, yeah, it's probably hard as shit.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that specific area in the game was designed with the assumption that you weren't going to throw those pebbles, that you were instead going to run into that group and try to take them on.
Well, I only realized what the pebbles did because of the Molotovs.
Yeah.
Because I still don't understand. Like, you'll have to show me. You equip items to like this quick select thing, you know?
Right.
and like square is what activates that. So
Right.
I'm using square to throw these Molotovs, right?
Right.
And I'm like, but there's like a whole bar. So like, how do you select between those? Because for me, every time I'm using the Molotovs and then want to switch to the pebbles, I'm going into the menu and switching them out and
Yeah.
then hitting square for the pebbles. But that's how I figured out the pebbles were throwable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to actually look at it.
Yeah.
But like that stuff, like once you get it figured out, it becomes really easy.
There's a lot of stuff you can exploit that I like a lot. That I'm sure bothers other people, but I thought it was really cool in that like there's like wrought iron fencing.
Yeah.
You can like kill just about anything through that.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to even put yourself in danger in a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
situations.
I feel like a lot of the time,
even like parts of buildings, like corners of buildings, you can just through it completely.
Well, like the thing about Soulsborne games is that the enemies are the big thing about like the kind of the fodder enemies is that they're all really dumb, but the thing is, it is like just everything hits really hard.
I don't think they are dumb though. I think they're smarter than a lot of enemies in other 3D games, other 3D action games. There are some that are fucking stupid, like those crows are dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Literally all, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the only animation I've seen from them is like fly forward.
Yeah.
You know.
So have you actually, have you learned how to effectively use your gun?
I've used it very, very little, but I assume it's more like a distraction than anything else.
So, okay, so in the Souls games, like most of the combat is like with Bloodborne, most of the combat is melee focused, right?
Right.
But unlike Bloodborne, in the Souls game, you have shields.
Okay.
I'm
aware of this.
And so, like a lot of time, a preferable action, like the better action
Shield
to
bash.
take. Well, I guess kind of, but like the better action to take versus blocking is to parry the attack.
Okay.
So like with your shield arm, you will usually like do like this at the right moment.
Yeah.
And it'll stagger them, and you can do a really critical strike, right? So the gun basically serves that purpose in Bloodborne, where if you shoot them at the right time, will stagger them, and you can get in there and do a critical attack.
Is there an advantage to doing that over rolling behind them and doing the little special attack thing?
And I guess it really kind of depends on who you're fighting.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I've not fought anything that's super huge.
Right.
There's that one dude that's pounding at the door.
Yeah.
But, like, that seems to take out most everything in one go.
Yeah. I do also think that there might be I'd actually have to test this, but I think that there actually might be a difference in the level of damage each one does. I'm not certain, but I think there might be.
I like the lore. Like, granted, I've had very little of it, but
Right.
like when you first start in the little clinic thing, you find the one note, and then like it took me a while to realize every time you see one of the lamps that's red, that there's someone there you can talk to,
Right.
and it's pretty neat. I like the way it's like trickling out.
Yeah. So you haven't fought any bosses yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There's been like that big dude
Just
at the
killing
door. I
dogs.
was like, is that a boss?
Yeah.
But like you kill him so fast, like that can't be a boss.
No, like, well, the thing about about Soulsborne games is that they go out of their way to make sure you know you're fighting a boss.
But I've fought Dark Souls bosses before,
Yeah.
but this has always appealed to me more just because of the aesthetic.
So are you enjoying the act of playing the game more?
I am having fun. I do think it's a good game. Like I see the appeal for sure. Will I stick with it? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I am having a lot of fun with it.
Well, one of the things that it took me a while to actually get good at was because all of your weapons are referred to as trick weapons.
Yes.
And the act of transforming them, I guess, for lack of a better word, like mid combo, is something that like I got good at some point.
Yeah.
But, like it took me a while.
See, and for me, I haven't fought anything where that's been necessary.
Yeah.
You know, I'm using the fucking pocket knife thing.
Yeah.
And
The saw cleaver.
yeah, and like for enemies with shields or with the long pitchforks, the long one works best.
Yeah.
For everything else, the small one works best.
Yeah.
You know, that's been as much thought as I've put into it
Sure.
at this point.
Sure.
But like I said, I haven't fought fought anything super crazy yet.
Um,
I thought those crow things were gonna be crazy. That dog, that white dog is fucking nuts.
yeah.
Yeah, like that thing will mess you up real fast. But once you realize you just need to throw one of the cocktails at it, it's dead. You know.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that like because there is a boss called the Cleric Beast.
Yeah.
Which I think is the second. I think it would be the second boss that you fight. And right before him, though, there are some. There are these two like pretty decent sized werewolves, and you throw a couple of Molotovs at those.
Oh,
guys.
on the bridge?
Yeah.
I know which ones you're talking about. I haven't fucked with them yet, but it's the same. I mean, it's the same werewolf that was at the beginning, right?
Yeah. I don't.
They look the same.
Yeah, maybe they are. But I'm anxious to. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody fight against Father Gascoigne.
No. If I have, I wouldn't know it.
Okay. He's a fast son bitch. So, it took me like a good number of tries to beat him, but like with all like, so I feel like with those games like those with the Soulsborne games, like I feel like they live and die by a couple of things. One is the level of minutia that they allow you to employ with your strategy, your gear sets, and like your skill set and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also the.
And that's one thing. Like I've not like. Am I just gonna be finding gear like I did with the first armor set, or like, are you buying the gear or what? Because like, there's not really the only loot drops I've seen are the shards that help let you upgrade your weapons.
Yeah. So.
And then the health and the like the bullets.
Yeah, so it's kind of going to be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of my playthrough wasn't so much like I found a weapon or a piece of armor here or there.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was me buying it.
Like I spent like the first 10-15 minutes like rolling through every piece of like crate or barrel that I could.
Yeah.
Because I assumed there would be things in those.
Yeah. There never are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that like whenever I watch Berto play Souls, I'm like, destroy the barrel. He's like, there's nothing there. I'm like, destroy it.
Yeah, yeah.
There could be.
There's a couple.
I shouldn't say never. There rarely is.
Yeah, I just like that's one of the things that, like he doesn't like about playing games with me. Like I am one of those people that's like, let's explore everything in this room.
So like when you take a hit, your meter goes down. And if you attack fast enough, you regain that lost health. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
When you take a hit, your meter goes like it goes yellow. But
Yeah.
if you hit back fast enough, it goes like pretty much the whole way back up.
Right. And yeah, and I think that's really close to. For some reason, I find myself wanting to compare it to. I'm blanking. Guilty Gear.
Mm-hmm. Rewarding aggression.
Yeah, and I think that Bloodborne very much rewards that, and that was and to answer your question, yeah, I believe so. But that was like a really hard transition for me, I think, because like it wasn't actually until like maybe 6 months ago that I realized that I was playing Dark Souls the hardest way possible, and that like you're most effective when you're dodging as opposed to blocking.
Okay.
And where in Bloodborne you don't really have a choice. You kind of dodging is like the order of the day there, but like.
Well, you do the shooting like you said.
Yeah, but you know, and if you can get the timing down on that right,
yeah.
Then like you're gonna have like an easier time. But like I'd always played like with every Dark Souls game, I'd always like the starting class that I always chose was the Knight because I like the gear setup and I like having the shield. But I would always I'd always keep like building on top, like bulkier armor, bigger shields, bigger swords, and like I'd always just try to like turtle up every time like
that's funny.
Every time an enemy would come after me, but that made it so like every fucking boss fight was a slog because like I wasn't fast enough to dodge anything, and like I couldn't really block anything that effectively either.
The chest that you have in the Hunter's Dream, it's kind of weird because like with things like those bullets, I don't know if all items, but the bullets for sure, the health for sure.
Right.
It's like once you hit 20, I was like, oh, I guess I'm maxed out. No, it sends all the extra shit over there. And I was like, it just...
Have you died yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just much more forgiving than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of how people speak about these games.
Yeah.
But it's like it's saving all this health for me, like a ridiculous amount of health.
And then when you die, like it restocks it for you.
Yeah, and it's letting me regain health after I've been hit, which like most games do not do that. Games that are not supposed to be hard don't do that. Like it's very.
But you also have more of, I guess, like a thought process and the timing and stuff of your attacks. I mean, you said it before, like, people who raise an NES probably won't find this hard.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people that even just played them, like, casually and didn't really put a lot of thought into there, like, still find this hard.
And that being said, I'm very early. Like, I might play for another hour or two and be getting killed left and right.
You're also just, like, just more aware of the mechanics of video games than a lot of other people as well.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, it is very fun. It is, and I really love the aesthetic to it. Besides the character creator, like, you cannot make a good-looking person in that game. It's impossible.
I'd always wondered about that. Like, the weird thing about Soulsborne games is everything is beautiful except you.
Except you, yeah.
everything is like. I remember going through Dark Souls 3. And like, I'm just like, this game is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, every area was just like really awesome to look at. But then like, you take my helmet off and I am not.
I do not compare.
Yeah.
The frame rate's pretty poor at some points, which really surprised me because the way people talk about these games is that like they need good frame rate apparently. Mm-hmm. It does not have good frame rate.
Which has always been like a really big.
And I'm playing on a baseline PlayStation 4, not the Pro.
But I don't know, honestly. I think that has less to do with your PlayStation and more just about game optimization.
Yeah.
And that was always a big thing with Dark Souls 1, right? Which is why the Dark Souls remaster was such a big deal because like
that town,
fucking Blight Town.
Yeah.
It is just not fun.
Yeah.
And when you're and it's not fun for the wrong reason, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not because...
Like, it would be fun if that was not a problem.
Right.
Yeah. Level design is fan-fucking-tastic in this game. I love that everything is connected, and that might just be the Metroidvania fan in me.
Yeah.
But, like, I love that, like, you can't open this door, and you go a little bit further down, and you're opening that door, and it really serves no purpose except for to get back to that area that we were previously at in a faster way.
Right.
At least that's the only purpose I found so far. I like that there's enemies set up in an ambush style.
Yeah.
The first little doodad that I saw in the game where you go to it's not the first one, it's the second one. Like the little save points where that'll take you back to the dream.
Yeah.
Like the second one, it's just at the top of this like maybe little thing of stairs, but like there's two guys there that like unless you know that they're there, they just kind of ambush you, and like there's something there that you want.
Yeah.
I like that there's little ambushes like that set up. It's very clever. I'm like, I didn't expect Bloodborne to be scary at all, but when those guys pop out at you, it's pretty freaky.
Yeah. Well, like, I think that
I love Castlevania. A lot of people compare this game specifically to Castlevania.
Yeah.
But Castlevania has never scared me,
Do you think, was it ever meant to?
I mean, it's Frankensteins and Draculas and werewolves and Medusas and like the whole monster mash is there.
Yeah.
But
so like
Castlevania 2 scared me, but I was a little boy.
Yeah.
You're a man now.
Was that the Horror Not to Have a Curse?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so even for like a scaredy cat like me, I still don't feel like there are that many truly scary games out there.
Yeah.
But Bloodborne is definitely one of them, and that has a lot to do with the setting, right? I think that like that's a truly like scary setting.
There's good ambushes.
Yeah.
You don't see that in a lot of games,
The last good ambush I had was actually just a couple of weeks ago when Daddy Baker crushed through that wall and grabbed me by my face.
Sure, but that's different though. That's like one dude, right? Which then that like happens in almost every Resident Evil.
Sure.
this is like, I expected somebody to be like, get 'em boys, like, you know, like it's that kind of ambush. It's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Which I also did not expect this game to be. This game is pretty fucking funny.
You know, I'm actually, the more you talk about it, the more I actually want to watch you play this game.
Yeah.
Because I think, see, with my my experience with the Soulsborne games, right? As far as talking to other people about the games, I have one or two people that I know who, you know, I have one or two people that I know that who aren't up their own ass about like how good they are about those games, right? And then every other interaction with those games is just a whole lot of the whole get good bullshit, which like I just find like wholly reprehensible. It's just I hate like elitist attitude about most things, right?
Yeah. I just think it's a funny game to like swing your dick around about, you know?
Yeah. And again, I think that there are skills that you develop over the course of playing those games.
Watching James play Neo.
Yeah.
That game looks way harder than this.
I can say without a doubt that Neo is much harder.
Yeah.
And it's also, but at the same time, I think Neo is just an all-around faster game. Which
this game's faster than Dark Souls.
Yeah, that game's faster than Dark Souls. Bloodborne's faster than Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Neo is faster than Bloodborne.
Yeah. But I found Dark Souls harder because of the slow speed.
Yeah, and I think that also, but again, like you're very much used to games where like reaction time,
sure,
and like really short windows are a big deal. Whereas Dark Souls is very deliberate in everything that it does.
But it's just funny to me because you would think it would be easier, right? Because just like in this game, enemies have 2 or 3 animations that they do.
Right.
You know, and if they're happening at a slower speed, you would think it would be easier. But I have had a harder time with Dark Souls than I am with this.
Yeah. But it's something I can definitely see, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that you're giving this game a shot finally, and I'm looking forward to watching you play it. But that's also making me want to revisit the more recent Ninja Gaiden games.
Yeah.
Because
Bayonetta made me want to do that.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden is harder than every Souls game that I've ever played.
Is it really?
I would say so. I think
I haven't played one of those games since we were in high school.
I have Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
It is a game that I have never finished. Also, surprisingly large number of werewolves in that. It's got as many werewolves, I'd say, as Bloodborne has.
Werewolves are cool.
Yeah, so...
a lot of werewolves in the Order.
Yeah, it's mostly werewolves.
Yeah. There's Dracula's.
Well, no, I'd say... See, it's so funny, because, like, you finished,
The Order?
No, I'm blanking on it. Hellblade. You finished Hellblade, right?
Yeah,
I think about how long I waited for you to finish Hellblade, so I talked to you about that. It is taking me so long to finish The Order. Like, and I keep deleting it, because, like, you know what, I need this other game. I need to
Which
play
is
this
funny
other game.
because, like, I was looking forward to Hellblade more than you were.
Yeah.
And you beat it, like, that first week. And I waited, like, maybe 4 or 5 months.
I couldn't get enough.
I'm actually playing through it a second time right now.
Yeah.
Just because my kids wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, Hellblade and The Order, they're like the same. Those are both like 1, maybe 2 sitting games.
Yeah.
You know,
you could finish both in an afternoon.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I'd rather you play Nier Automata.
Yeah. Yeah, I will install that eventually, but I feel really good. I don't think I'm gonna get to Nier Automata anytime soon because after I'm done with because as I'm beating Assassin's Creed, I'm going to be getting ready to purchase Red Dead.
Yeah.
So that's probably gonna be my next game.
Sinead, Berto's super into like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, all that. Mm-hmm. You ever dip your toes in?
Me? I played Demon Souls on the PS3.
Yeah.
And
as I understand that, that's quite a bit different, right? Like that's much more linear.
As far as storyline goes, yeah, but like mechanics.
But like gameplay though, right? Like the levels are more linear in that, are they not?
Yeah, but like, well, it's like a tower, and what I remember, it's like a tower, and you go through doors, like a lot of it, and then like you just kind of go through that area, and then once you're done, you go back to the tower, and then you go to the next door.
Yeah. That sounds neat.
So I mean,
I don't know if I've ever actually seen gameplay of
that. Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
It looks very similar to Dark
I'm
Souls.
sure. I mean, I've known of it since its release,
but yeah, I played that, and I actually had an easier time with Ninja Gaiden than I think I did with Demon's Souls, and I did not finish it. But I played I'd say 5 or 6 hours of it. And I just...
You didn't dig it enough to keep playing them.
No, I just I mean, we've tried it before, I couldn't... I didn't feel like I was ever getting a grasp of what was happening and feeling accomplished from it. Everything just felt like I survived it, and I didn't feel good about it. I was just like, well,
that's one thing
I'm still here.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go to the next thing, and then I was just like, all right, I'm not there. Wait, no, still here.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next thing, and it was just like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was for me. I feel like that way with a lot of games that I've just dropped. I'm just like, I don't dislike it, but I just also not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny thing is, of all the Soulsborne games, Dark Souls, it's just something I just thought about. Dark Souls 1 is the only game with no hub world in that entire franchise.
What are you considering a hub world in Bloodborne? The Dream?
Yeah. Demon Souls has the Nexus. Dark Souls 2 has that one bonfire that links all the other bonfires. Dark Souls 3 has some kind of mausoleum sort of thing.
Does the Dream thing expand?
No.
So it's that small and that's the hub world?
Yeah.
That's weird. But I think hub world Banjo-Kazooie's got a bigger hub world than that, you know?
Well, there are things that there are different things you can do in that hub world too, though.
Well, I know, there's the dude in the house and the doll thing and all that. I don't know what the doll does yet.
Well, no,
apparently I can fuck it, but I haven't.
I
Well, I don't know if you can, but the guy said something about...
The guy was like, you can fuck it if you want.
He pretty much said that. Not in those words, but he pretty much says you can fuck it.
But there's these things in Bloodborne. I forget what they're called, but they basically amount to like challenge dungeons that you can do. They open up a little later, and then
that's cool.
The last boss fight in the game happens in the dream. So
that's great.
So there you go.
Is it babies? Is it the white? Is it the white?
The babies are not
milk
involved.
Babies.
The babies are not involved.
Okay.
But that game. And I don't. And if you
what are those fellas anyway?
I don't know that they were ever. See, I did a check it out on that Vati Vidya guy.
Yeah.
Like a year or so ago, probably longer than that. And I watched all the lore videos that he had on Bloodborne.
Doesn't explain the babies.
He did not so much as acknowledge those babies at the time.
Oh, I've been playing offline, by the way.
Yeah.
Is it more fun online? Should I be playing online?
Well, see, that depends on what kind of experience you want to have, right? Do you care about co-op at all?
Not really. For a game like that, no.
Okay. Do you care about PvP at all? Do you care about the danger of PvP?
I don't so much care about the danger. I care more about, what do I get? If somebody comes into my town, my world, my game...
A bunch of blood echoes.
And I kill them, that's what I'm going to get is blood echoes?
A bunch of
money.
Blood echoes, yeah.
Okay. Get out of my house.
Yeah.
You're trapped in here with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me back my face.
Sure, give me back my face.
Yeah. But there's I feel like playing online with all those games is kind of
Sounds fun.
Well, I think that if you're enjoying that, I guess you can be of two minds about it, right? Because some people, every time they see that invasion message, they're like, God damn it, right? Yeah. But, I like playing online because I like the idea that at any point while I'm playing that game, outside of a boss battle anyway, at any point, I can get that message no matter what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So, you have to be careful all the time. because you don't want to find yourself in like a shitty situation where like you got like these enemies trying to kill you, with this other guy trying to kill you.
When they invade, is there a specific place that they're spawning from, or does it just drop them randomly into the world?
I feel like it's random. I feel like they're never gonna spawn like right in front of you, or anything like that.
Like, how do they know where you are?
I forget. I think that there's like they're close enough to you. I think that they can find you like without trying too hard.
Okay.
And also if you're making noise.
But they're just other dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not playing as monsters or anything, right?
No, it's just other people
You can
with
pretend
their
they're monsters
characters.
if you want.
We're the monsters.
Yeah. Well, they're once again they're trapped in here. Well, you know what? It's like really you kind of become a dream warrior because it's like you're asleep and they're like the Freddy Krueger.
Don't no. No.
Do you wanna?
But I don't know. I don't think like. But if you don't care, if you are interested in PvP, I think you maybe try it once. Then if it's for you, you'll know whether or not it's for you within that first encounter. I think. And then
I like it though. It is. I am having fun with it. Now I'll say this: Metal Gear.
Oh.
I'm having a lot of fun with though.
On the PvP.
No, I haven't done any of that. Just in
I
general.
I was about to say like I feel like that game is really bad.
Yeah, just in general. So like I don't know which one's gonna really hold me more, but
I am thinking it's going with knowing what I know about you, and the way that you like to play video games.
yeah.
I think that Metal Gear is probably gonna win out of those two.
Yeah.
But that being said, I am interested to see how deep into Bloodborne you actually make it before. You might not stop. You might find a point where like everything clicks for you and you're just addicted to it. But
I hope so. I hope so. I was this whole thing came about. I'm playing games with my kids, and we're going through on PlayStation 4. Bailey's making folders.
Right.
Right. Because she sees I have folders. She wants folders too.
Yeah.
And
That's really cute.
Yeah, no, he was real proud when we saw it.
Yeah, and she's
He's like, you make the folders?
the kids are like, "What do you think of Bloodborne?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I haven't really played Bloodborne, but like it's a game that I really want to like.
Right.
You know, which is weird, but you know, I'm sure there's been games that you've like wanted to be into.
I
right?
wanted to be into Bound by Flame.
So did I. So did I. So I told him that I was like, I've not played much of it at all, but like I really want to like it. So we'll see.
Well, I like that your initial impression of it is
Yeah, it's mostly positive.
It's positive.
Yeah.
When you do stop it, like I shouldn't say when, but if you do stop playing that game or you decide to call it quits at some point, there is a twist that game takes that's like a really weird turn that game takes that's like pretty unexpected. But I don't want to spoil it for you just yet. If you
becomes a puzzle game.
No.
It becomes an Atomi game.
All right.
You can date all the
I don't think
werewolves.
there's enough story there for it to be an Atomi game.
You can date all the werewolves.
Well, I think that an Atomi based on Bloodborne or really any of the Soulsborne games would be just really gross.
Sure.
Because everything's
You'd be romancing that doll.
Yeah. Bloodborne, romancing the doll.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to watch you play that game.
Well, I might, since I'm only about an hour in, I might go back and, because I can't get all those weapons, right? At the beginning it makes you choose between one of the three weapons.
I feel like you can.
Okay.
But I feel like, I just don't feel like there's really a point to.
Because I kind of want to see what that axe is all about, that long axe.
Yeah, the axe is cool. I don't think you'll get, there are some people who like the cane. I wasn't really a fan of it. It's a cane, but like it's also a whip.
Can you do the Scrooge McDuck?
No.
That'd be rad.
That would be cool though. I feel like that would break the game though, because I feel like it just make it too easy.
Sure.
There's a huge on those games though. There's a when you can, if you could, I almost said go down on an enemy. I mean, but come down from above.
I did that once in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, it's it's always of your benefit to do so because it always takes a huge chunk of health out. But we'll see.
But there's fall damage.
You don't take fall damage if you land that attack though.
Okay.
If you land one of those attacks,
They break your fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's neat. I did recently watch a Bloodborne video where someone got invaded by another player while they were fighting a sub boss.
Yeah.
and the boss grabbed that guy instead of the player and threw him off the bridge.
That's awesome.
And it was really funny.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very funny game. Like some of the things that just naturally occur with the enemies is just very, very funny. Yeah, I like it.
Closing thoughts, Tom?
Bloodborne. It's all right.
Okay. Should I have closing thoughts?
No.
Okay.
No.
Buy Castlevania when that comes out.
Yeah. Support the arts.
Show Konami that they're doing a good thing.
Yeah. Make Konami make games again.
Sure.
See you next week, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.